Censorship is an issue that I feel strongly about. It's interesting seeing what people will and will not get upset about when it comes to things getting censored, but by and large, it feels like most people don't want their movies, video games, anime, that kind of thing tampered with. What I want to talk about is changing movies after the fact. The most obvious person to go after in something like this would be George Lucas, but that's not who I'm going to focus on. This actually came to mind after I finally bought a copy of Macross Do You Remember Love. Macross Do You Remember Love is one of my favorite anime movies, but I've never owned a legal copy of it. This is because of, well, various issues with copyright that I could go into that would be a completely different video. The point is, getting a legal US version of the movie uncut has been impossible. And it actually still is, so I broke down and imported the Blu-ray. I have a PS3, and I've memorized most of the dialogue, so it doesn't really matter if I can't read the subtitles. I know what's going on. It's a very visual movie anyway. But then when I got my copy, I'd been hearing things about it before from people like Archimize who also bought it, and I saw it for myself. They edited the movie. They changed it. A couple of scenes of extreme violence were cut, in particular a man getting curb stomped by a mecha. And another scene where a guy gets decapitated. Now, the censorship was done surprisingly well, and it really didn't ruin the flow of the movie for me, but it didn't change the fact that I was a little perturbed by this. I bought the movie expecting it to be the original version, not the version that was cut up, and I really didn't like that. It took me back to another anime purchase. The version of the Gundam movies that are on DVD here in the United States. That is, Gundam movies 1, 2, and 3. They've been changed. They were changed by Sunrise, yes, as part of an anniversary project. The special edition of the Gundam movies features different voice actors because they couldn't restore the original audio, I guess. And then also changing the entire soundtrack. That is, moving all of the music around, and in some cases removing tracks entirely or replacing them with newly recorded versions of the songs. I'm really not okay with this. I'm actually more not okay with this. Macross Do You Remember Love presented me with a lot of issues in that they cut some scenes out, and I'm just against censoring movies in general. But by moving music around, that completely changes the feel of the scene. I'm against changing movies at all. You shouldn't be editing a movie after the fact. If you have released a version of the movie, and that is the original version, that is the original version, no questions. Changing the soundtrack to a movie can completely change the meaning of a scene. Imagine Oingo Boingo playing when Roy dies in Blade Runner. Or what if the whistle song from Kill Bill was playing when Aerith dies in Final Fantasy VII? Or what if the Imperial March was playing when the bride walks into that place at the end of Kill Bill? Soundtracks matter. Guile's theme goes with Everything Is Funny because it doesn't belong there, and we know something else does. Is it the same movie anymore? I don't think so. This is basically what I'm getting at. I'm against censorship of movies in general. I don't like changes, and I don't feel that there's ever a time when it is appropriate to do that. Or at the very least, if you're going to make changes like that, still make the original version available. Or make it clear to us that we're getting a different version. As much as I love owning the original Gundam movies on DVD, I don't know that I would have bought them if I would have known that the changes were going to be that drastic. As for Macross Do You Remember Love? Well, the scenes that haven't been tampered with look better than they ever have. And I don't regret my purchase in any way. It's just a bummer to have those couple scenes edited. That's the Izumi Rant for this week. Keep on spocking in the free world.